Hey everyone, my name is Chris. Today, we're going to talk about the richest countries in the world. Have you ever wondered which countries have the most wealth per capita? What do they do to get so much money? Is it worth living there if you want to? Let's figure it out. We've compiled a list of the top 10 countries based on per capita GDP, gross domestic product. This is the total value of goods and services produced in a year, divided by the number of people living in the country. Before we dive into the list, let's first define what GDP and GDP per capita mean. Gross domestic product, or GDP, is the total value of all goods and services produced within a country's borders in a given year. It's a measure of a country's economic output and is often used as an indicator of its economic health. GDP per capita is the GDP divided by the total population of a country. It gives an idea of the average economic output per person in the country and is often used as an indicator of the standard of living. Now that we have a better understanding of these terms, let's take a look at the top 10 richest countries in the world by GDP per capita. Let's start with number 10, Denmark. Denmark's per capita GDP is $61,478 USD. Its economic model is known as flexicurity, where employers can hire and fire employees as they please. There's no minimum wage, and you can start a business within hours. On the other hand, the unionization rate is high, and there are a lot of collective agreements between companies and employees. They can get excellent unemployment insurance, but in 6 months, the insurance is halved, and in 2 years, it fully runs out. To get this insurance, you must pay a membership to the unemployment funds that are generally controlled by the unions and receive government assistance. Also, there's a social support system in charge of making sure that everyone has the minimum necessary to live. What do you think of the Danish system? Do you go for flexibility, or job stability and minimum wage are more important for you? Number 9, San Marino. This small landlocked country surrounded by Italy has a per capita GDP of $61,508 USD. San Marino was a tax haven, but it introduced measures such as forbidding anonymous companies in 2010 and reducing bank secrecy in 2017 to finally be removed from the blacklist. This was a hard blow to San Marino's economy. Between 2008 and 2017, the GDP decreased by 30%, but the country managed to reverse the trend by driving manufacturing and tourism, attracting foreign investment with significantly lower taxes than the rest of Europe and succeeding in getting companies to open a branch in the country. Even though it's not a member of the European Union, San Marino helps the organization to stop money laundering, and its currency is the euro. Its national designs are even on the back of this currency, as if it were a member of the Eurozone. Plus, it's the only country in the world where there are more cars than people. Number 8, Brunei. Brunei's per capita GDP is $64,405 USD, but don't let it fool you. You may think the 460,000 inhabitants live like the Danes, but the truth is, they live humbly because most of the earnings go to the Sultan and his family. They manage the dividends that the main national products such as oil and natural gas bring. These are 90% of the GDP. They fund their luxury life with this. For example, the Sultan's Rolls-Royce car is covered in gold. But they provide residents with certain benefits, such as free education and healthcare, subsidized funerals, and low-interest home and car buying, which has resulted in the fact that there's a car for every 2 people. Just to avoid opposition to the monarchy, so the Sultan can allow himself to try imposing laws inspired by Islamic law, such as the death penalty for adulterers and homosexuals, although international pressure made him take this law back. Number 7, the United States of America. With a per capita GDP of $68,309, the United States is the largest importer and the second largest exporter of goods in the world. It is home to 30% of the millionaires in the world, 40% of multimillionaires, and 139 out of 150 of the world's biggest companies. The private sector represents 86.4% of its economy, and this largely depends on the 30 million small companies that provide jobs for 36% of the employees, whereas the big companies hire 37% of them and the state hires 14% of them. However, not everything is beautiful. There are more imports than exports, the welfare state is small, and fewer goods are redistributed than other advanced economies. This is the only developed country that doesn't insure either paid sick or parental leave. The richest 10% controlled 72% of the wealth between 2010 and 2011, and according to Forbes, only 3 people, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates, controlled more wealth than the lower half of the population in 2017. That year, more than 500,000 people were homeless. In 2018, 18.5 million Americans lived in extreme poverty. Middle-class income stalled between 1998 and 2016, and 15% of the population doesn't have health insurance. Despite these challenges, the United States remains a highly desirable destination for many people looking to live, work, and start a business due to its diverse economy, cultural influence, and global reach. Number 6. Norway. With a per capita GDP of $76,169, Norway is another country that owes much of its wealth to oil production. The Norwegian government controls strategic sectors, such as the North Sea oil that made the country rich in the 1970s. Healthcare is almost free, costing members around $225 a year. Oil assets are invested in a sovereign wealth fund, which is the largest of its kind, with $1.3 trillion invested in assets. It controls 1% of all the shares in the world, giving great power to company boards of directors. Despite its oil wealth, Norway promotes the purchase of electric cars in its territory by cutting taxes. The country hopes to become independent of fossil fuels by 2025. What do you think of Norway's approach to investing its oil assets in a sovereign wealth fund? Do you think more countries should follow Norway's lead in promoting the use of electric cars? Let us know in the comments below. Number 5. Switzerland. Its per capita GDP is $75,880, making it one of the wealthiest nations in the world. The country's economy is known for its stability and low levels of unemployment. Switzerland is divided into cantons that share a currency, foreign policy, and constitution. It implements a system of direct democracy, through which there is a referendum every 4 months to vote on the main laws. Taxes are low and business creation is encouraged. Swiss neutrality has made banking an important sector, with 28% of all extraterritorial funds in the world located there. The manufacturing industry is also significant, with notable companies such as Nestlé, the pharmaceutical company Roche, and watch manufacturers Rolex, Richemont, and Swatch. Despite its high living standard, only 37% of the population owns their own home, and there is no minimum wage except in the canton of Geneva. Switzerland encourages recycling by charging for garbage pickup. If you don't use official bags or don't put government stickers, they won't collect your garbage. Number 4. Qatar. Qatar is a small Middle Eastern country with a population of just over 2.8 million people. However, it has the per capita GDP of $97,262. The main driver of Qatar's economy is its natural resources, particularly oil and natural gas. The country has been investing heavily in its infrastructure and tourism industry, with the aim of diversifying its economy and reducing its reliance on oil and gas. Despite its high per capita GDP, Qatar has faced criticism for its treatment of migrant workers, who make up a large portion of the country's labor force. Migrant workers often face poor working conditions and have limited rights under Qatar's labor laws. The country has made some efforts to improve working conditions and rights for migrant workers in recent years, but more needs to be done to address this issue. Qatar is also known for its hosting of major international events, including the 2022 FIFA World Cup. This has helped to raise the country's profile and attract investment and tourism. Number 3. Ireland. With a per capita GDP of $99,239, Ireland has a unique economic model based on low taxes and foreign investment. In the late 1980s, Ireland opened itself up to foreign investment and established special economic zones with reduced taxes. As a result, multinationals such as Apple, Google, Facebook, Intel, Pfizer, and Microsoft established their headquarters in Ireland, employing a quarter of the Irish workforce and paying 80% of the business taxes. Ireland is now one of the largest exporters of pharmaceutical products, medical equipment, and software. Despite the success of this economic model, Ireland faced a major setback during the global financial crisis of 2008, leading to a significant increase in its debt and a sharp decline in property prices. However, the country has made significant strides in recent years to regain its economic footing, with its GDP growing by over 8% in 2018, making it the fastest-growing economy in the European Union. Ireland also has a strong social welfare system, with universal healthcare and a comprehensive social safety net. The country is also known for its rich cultural heritage, picturesque landscapes, and vibrant cities, making it a popular destination for tourists and expatriates alike. Number 2. Singapore. With a per capita GDP of $102,742, Singapore is a city-state and has the highest percentage of millionaires in the world. 1 in 6 households has a net worth of $1 million or more. Singapore's economy is heavily reliant on exports, particularly in electronics, pharmaceuticals, and financial services. Singapore has a low income tax rate and practically non-existent duty. The government mandates its citizens to save a quarter of their salary for medical emergencies, education, and pensions. Additionally, to reduce poverty, the government provides the equivalent of about $295 or $740 to the neediest households, covering health and education, and gives a voucher worth the equivalent of $122,500 to each citizen who has children. To further support its population, Singapore provides poor students with low-cost laptops and refunds for public transport. However, there are some strict rules in Singapore, such as the ban on chewing gum, and the country does not have freedom of expression. People can be punished with up to 2 years in prison for violating certain laws. Despite its strict laws, Singapore's high living standard and business-friendly environment have made it a top destination for professionals and entrepreneurs seeking opportunities in Asia. Number 1. Luxembourg. Finally, we arrive at the country with the highest per capita GDP in the world. Luxembourg, with a per capita GDP of $122,740. The country is known for its strong financial sector, which accounts for a significant portion of its economy. It is the third most competitive financial center in Europe after London and Zurich, and the most important banking center in the Eurozone. Luxembourg's steel industry is also noteworthy, with the government holding a share of 31%. The country benefits from its political stability, good connections with the rest of Europe, and traditional bank secrecy. In 2009, there were 152 banks with 27,000 employees, and the steel industry has a reputation for quality and innovation. The minimum wage in Luxembourg is approximately €2,600 per month, and since 2020, public transportation has been free. With its high standard of living and strong economy, Luxembourg is an attractive destination for skilled professionals and entrepreneurs alike. In conclusion, these 10 countries have the highest per capita GDPs in the world. While each country has its unique strengths and challenges, they all demonstrate the potential for prosperity and economic growth. Whether you're looking to start a business, further your career, or simply live in a country with a high standard of living, these countries offer a range of opportunities and possibilities. In conclusion, while wealth and GDP are not the only factors that determine a country's overall quality of life, they do play an important role in shaping a country's economic and social policies. These top 10 richest countries in the world have achieved their wealth through a variety of means, including natural resources, technology, and industry. However, it is important to remember that economic prosperity does not necessarily equate to happiness or well-being, and that other factors such as social equality, political stability, and environmental sustainability are also critical in creating a thriving society.